Morning, ladies and gentlemen. GMO Tuesday. It's GMO Tuesdays. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, just got off the radio with Dennis Romeo over there, AM News. Of course, we were talking a little bit about the Coughlin Ranch House, of course. Now, for many people who don't know anything about Nevada history, Nevada Coughlin House is kind of like, it might be on the chopping block. And you know what's really sad is it is a very, has a lot of history for the state of Nevada. It was built in 1851, of course, up in Virginia City. At that time, there's another building in Reno that probably needs to get put into history and have a little work done on it to save it, and that is John's Barber Shop. Of course, John Cordione, the last standing barber, licensed barber ever in Reno, Nevada. He came to Reno in 1915. But the Coughlin Ranch House, ladies and gentlemen, moved from Virginia City, had to be on the V&T Railroad. That's all we had back then. 1901. The house was 50 years old. What an amazing feat. A 50-year-old house built in Virginia City. 7,000-foot elevation. Gets brought down to 4,000-foot elevation on a train. Unbelievable. Wouldn't that have been cool to watch that, huh? Yeah, we'd be in a walker if we were watching it. But, well, we'd have had one of them penny suckers and got some popcorn or something. That's what they did back in them days. GMO Tuesdays. That means it's time to talk about that cutie pie in the Keystone State, MDG Blogger. Yes, MDG Blogger. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Organic 4, the number 4, greenlivings.com. That's her website. Got some awesome stuff over there this morning on her website. Just unbelievable articles on your health, articles for recipe stuff, planting, gardening tips, kind of like my website, but got some good stuff. She got some really good stuff. Also got to plug Shannon up there at Foothill Feed and Mercantile. You're in the Reno area? Hey, non-GMO feed for your critters. And we're going to talk about why that's important, ladies and gentlemen. Some really big studies coming out on Monsanto. Let's see here. Oh, gosh. 775-852-0999-1330. Geiger Grade, Reno, Nevada, ladies and gentlemen. I have strawberry plants. If you're into the strawberries, if you like fresh fruit, strawberries are cool. They all kinds of landscaping stuff. $4 a dozen. If you're her customer, if you're a customer of Foothill Feed and Mercantile, you want some strawberries, say something to the girl. Put a bug in her ear. She'll say something to me. We'll get you strawberries. Yes, we will. I'll make sure they get down to you. You got it. But as I said, non-GMO feed for your animals, whether it be, I don't care what it is. She sells feed. You got a critter, you don't want to feed it GMO food, get a hold of Shannon, 775-852-0999. She'll get you squared away. Tell her what you need. She'll make sure it's on the ticket, and you can get your animals eating healthy. Yes, you can. Hey, I got an email this morning from Zen Honeycut, Moms Across America. What an awesome organization this one is. Another organization. And Zen, you need to get all your membership, everybody on your email list. You need to get them joining my campaign, my Twitter campaign to the President of the United States, to Scott Pruitt, the EPA guy. Please get the poison out of our food. That's the campaign. We'll get to that in a bit. Let me read this here. 2 years ago, dear Aaron, 2 years ago, January 2015, representing mothers, I had the opportunity to stand before the Monsanto shareholder meeting and say, Mr. Grant, you and the EPA say you have hundreds of studies showing the safety of glyphosate. So I requested said studies, Freedom of Information Act. I think this is something that Zen Honeycutt did here that's very important, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know something? let's start beating this government up. Let's start beating these people up with their own information. All we got to do is ask for it in a right way. Freedom of Information Act, that's what that's about. Freedom of Information Act. Here's an example of just one study on the white shrimp. The study you commissioned found that white shrimp died at levels of 5.2 parts per million of glyphosate in just 4 days. Another study shows that glyphosate remains viable in dark salty water for 351 days. Why is that important? Why is that important, ladies and gentlemen? As Zen points out, it's kind of a saline solution in the womb. A 6-week-old human fetus is the size of a shrimp. 5 parts per million is when the shrimp has a problem, when something that big has a problem with glyphosate. Sugar has 25 parts per million, not 5.2, 25 parts per million. That is how bad the glyphosate levels are in our food, ladies and gentlemen. What do women crave when they get pregnant? I'm not a doctor. I'm just reporting facts as I get them. I'm not a doctor. I've never been pregnant. I've never had a craving for sardines and hot fudge. Okay, I've never had anything like that. But I know that it's there. Now, before I go further, I have to pull something up here. A gentleman named Thomas last week brought something to my attention, and I misspoke. It is not Select Harvest, as I said last week. It is, I believe, White Russet are the potatoes. They hurt today, so they kind of pop out. Let's see here. The potatoes are White Russet, not Harvest Select. I misspoke. Harvest Select, they are the good non-GMO potatoes. I apologize, Harvest Select. I actually spoke with those folks at Harvest Select. I got them backwards. White Russet is the GMO potato. It's on the YouTube station, folks. You'll see it back there. One of the things in food labeling, Thomas Baldwin, and I thank Thomas for pointing that out. I had to correct that. He did point that out, and I appreciate that, Thomas. Thank you very much. But he brought something up. 80% of America want food containing DNA labeling, blah, 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 blah. And, okay, so why is that a bad thing? Because we don't have, we have two whole separate entities of information out there. One is a truth, one is a lie, and both sides are yelling each other's are propaganda, fear-mongering idiots. So, who do we believe? I think any company that is going to spend billions of dollars to keep something a trade secret? A trade secret? Stop. Thomas was saying he made a very, farmers need to fight insects with genes, not poison. That's not a bad concept. Although, do we create Frankenbugs? We don't know. Myself, I like using natural methods. What eats frogs, toads, lizards? They eat their garden's pets. They're your garden's buddy. Trust me on that. Of course, they will bring in certain types of snakes. You got to be careful to watch for that. However, there's other insects, praying mantis, ladybugs, that will eat insects. And various, types of lizards and stuff eat insects. So it's something to watch. There's also various types, alternative feeding methods. grow something way over here because the rabbit will be lazy and eat over there and not come eat your food over here. That's one way. Another way to do stuff. There's a lot of positive, environmental friendly deal. I got to bring this question up. I got to bring it up. We've all heard non-GMO verified project, non-GMO verified. Non-GMO verified. They got a deal. Let me see if I can pull their picture up so you know what I'm talking about. Non-GMO. Let me see here. Non-GMO verified. LivingNonGMO.com. It's a different website. LivingNonGMO.com. Different website. non-GMO project.org. Different website. They're the same company. And I'm not going to go down this road to say they're doing something bad. What they've done is they've pulled a page out of Monsanto's propaganda game. They'll use one side they'll cite Living Non-GMO. Living Non-GMO will cite Non-GMO Project. That's what Monsanto's done, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what they've done. They've created bogus scientific websites, and they hire people like Kevin Synapathy to be a science commentator who barely has a journalism degree of creative writing, for crying out loud. But she's a science commentator. Think about this. They comment on science. They explain science to the layperson. I want to know how somebody who doesn't have a background in genetics, in physics, in biology, in botany. How do all these people, how can they comment and explain science to me if I'm a layperson? I don't know. I don't get it. I think science was explained very good to me at a very young age. What you put in the dirt goes on the table. What you put in the dirt ends up on your table. It was explained to me. I don't need you to comment on somebody else's science that is bought and paid for, like Monsanto does. Of course, the non-GMO verified project, they verify food is not having genetically modified ingredients is what they do. They were started by two stores, a natural grocery company out of Berkeley, California, Big Carrot Natural Foods out of Toronto, Canada. Well, Canada is one of the biggest GMO polluters on the planet, with all the canola and everything up there, and everything they do is GMO, and all the people are wonderful GMO. Everything they say is wonderful about GMO stuff. I don't know. I could be wrong. But they are one in the same. Both those websites are the same. Take it for what it's worth. And I'm not saying that the non-GMO verified project or Living Non-GMO is putting out propaganda. I'm not saying that they're putting out lies, but that is the scenario that the organic industry is having to come to grips with, because that's what Monsanto and big food manufacturers are doing. Of course, 80 years ago, Kellogg's, you used to be able to go tour all these things. When I was a kid, you used to be able to go to the dairies. Tour a dairy, see what's going on with the dairy. But you got to remember, 50 years ago, dairies were small, local. Farms were small and local. We didn't need a 50,000, 250, 380 million acre farm in France growing grapes to make all the wine in the world. We didn't have 400 million acres of corn in Kansas to feed everybody corn in the world. Everything was on a local level. Know your farmer, know your food. Know your farmer, know your food. Grow your food, know your food. Hey, but know your farmer, know your food, ladies and gentlemen. That's what small farming was about. spoke with a neurologist this week, about glyphosate on the nervous system. And here's what I did. I didn't label it as what it was. I just took the glyphosate chemical itself, all the little hexagons that they do, and I put all that together. I got a little picture of that, took all the glyphosate stuff off it, and I gave it to the neurologist. And I said, hey, what do you think about this? Will this chemical have any effect on the nervous system? And he looked at it, he says, not on the nervous system, but this is a carcinogen. Whatever chemical this is, it's a carcinogen. Take it for what it's worth, ladies and gentlemen. Take it for what it's worth. Glyphosate is a carcinogen. Not a nervous system, but a carcinogen. We got some studies out right now as Monsanto is running out of what I call legal maneuvering. The judges are saying, no, you got to produce those documents. Documents are saying, hey, they knew about this being a cancer agent, a carcinogen, back in the late 70s. 40 frickin' years, ladies and gentlemen. As Dennis Romeo and I touched on this morning, make no mistake about this, Monsanto's law team knew it would take 30 years to get through the courts. Now everything's crumbling. Now they've made billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars on this chemical that they've been poisoning us with. The levels that are in our food are unheard of. But one of the lawsuits against Monsanto, deceptive advertising, because on the label it says we only target an enzyme found only in plants. That's what the glyphosate does. It targets an enzyme only in the plants. Therefore, it's safe for people like you and me and our dogs and our cats and the cows and the pigs and the goats. It's safe for our pets. Safe for our pets, safe for us. On the verge of zebra danios studies coming in, which is a tropical fish, and they're looking at the effects it has in water. The effects it has. A zebra danio is a fish about this big, has a gestation period of about, 12, 14, 17 days, something like that. Little fish about that big, kind of cute. Got zebra stripes on it, black and silver stripes. Real pretty fish. Schooling fish, kind of cool fish, but they're about that big. Maybe an inch and a half long. Not very big fish. So short lifespan, we can get some study in real quick. And that's what they've done. They found there's problems. We've also found that there's a problem with gut bacteria, which we have to have. When I get done with this and I get done processing everything, I will put some links in the description, ladies and gentlemen, and you can go see some of this stuff for yourself. Especially Zen Honeycutt story. This is a good article, a very good article. It cannot hurt them. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Monsanto has already been sued over glyphosate and false advertising claims. Back in the late 70s, France beat them up and beat them up bad. 64 countries are saying no to this. 16 countries in the European Union just said no to new GMO corns. My question, if the first GMO corn you gave us was going to feed all the hungry people, it was going to use less insecticides, it was going to use less pesticides, and it was going to produce more food to feed all the hungry people, who, by the way, are still hungry because there is no more corn, because it didn't produce more corn. It's actually producing less. And oh, by the way, we have bigger, tougher bugs, so we have to use more bigger, tougher insecticides. And now that we have bigger, tougher weeds, something that is taught to you in basic evolution in science classes in the first, second, and third grades. Hello, Monsanto scientists that have sold your soul to the devil because you think it's more important to have a fancy car today than tell the truth. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Glyphosate is not safe. It is a metal cleaner. Therefore, it is taking all the metal out of your body. It's taking all kinds of elements out of your body. It's breaking down the hair, the philia, in the little hairs that absorb all the nutrients that are in your intestines. It breaks those down. It creates holes in your guts. You start leaking stuff out. You start doing weird stuff, man. It's just that simple. It is not a safe product. And let's not forget, coming up here on the 18th, and I will have it for you. I'll have reports on this. The opinion from Monsanto Tribunal, ladies and gentlemen. On the 18th, that's next week, we're going to be talking about that. That's right. GMO Tuesdays on the 18th, ladies and gentlemen. Monsanto Tribunal releases their opinion. This is going to go in front of the United Nations. You can bet on it. And I got a feeling Monsanto is going to have to start answering. They're not going to be able to use any more trade secret. Oh, it's a trade secret. It's a trade secret. It's a trade secret. The only trade secret that is out there is Monsanto is a liar. And they have paid people, just like Hillary Clinton has paid numerous people to tell their story to their narrative the way they want it told. That's what it's all about. Pecuniary greed at its finest. And I have more money to tell my story better than you have to tell your story. We the people, ladies and gentlemen, we the people have the power to change, as it's called, consumer power. And I'm already seeing it in a lot of different areas. Hey, my Twitter campaign, every day, 8-9 times a day, I'll find some way on Twitter when I'm bouncing around over there. I'll find something that I can tag the real Donald J. Trump, EPA Director Scott Pruitt, the US FDA and the USDA, and I ask them, please get the poison out of our food. And I'm asking you today, Zen Honeycutt, get your membership, get everybody on your email list. Ronnie Cummings, 2 million people, membership for Organic Consumers Association. How many people on your mailing list? Andrew over there at the Center for Food Safety. Think about this, folks. What would happen if we could make that phrase, please get the poison out of our food, trending every day on Twitter? What happens? Number one, it's being talked about on the talk shows at night, on the news circuit at night, trending today on Twitter. You've all heard that little segment. They all have them. That's number one. Number two, it puts it out there in the public domain. Number three, attorneys can start using that against Monsanto. Number four, attorneys can start using that against the elected officials that are screwing us when they vote in favor of Monsanto legislation. Think about that. We, the people, elect these morons to go represent our best interest. Our taxes are paying their salary. And what are they doing? They're taking Monsanto money, screwing us. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the day. Join me on my Twitter campaign to the real Donald J. Trump, the EPA, the FDA, the USDA. Please get the poison out of our food. Let's all have a great day. Let's all be safe out there.